What's up, guys? I have been to the bookstore again, and I came out with an epic fantasy book haul. I think it's been my most successful trip to the bookstore ever. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's get started. I suspect that you guys are really going to like this one. I got book one of the Belgaria series, Pawn of Prophecy by David Eddings. I also got, my friends, book two of the same series for $1 once again, Queen of Sorcery. I got book three, Magician's Gambit, for the same price. I got book four, Castle of Wizardry, for the same price. And of course, I got the final installment in this epic fantasy series for the same price, Enchanter's Endgame. So I got an entire 5-book epic fantasy series by an author that I've not yet read for $5. So I'm really excited about this one. I picked up the second book in the Wheel of Time series, The Great Hunt, which is the sequel to The Eye of the World, a book that I own and I plan on reading here in the near future. Picked one up by an author that I'm really looking forward to trying. I have his Otherland series. I got The War of the Flowers by Ted Williams. Next up is a book that I already read, but I'm thinking about rereading it and going on with the rest of the series, which is an 11-book series with a lot of additions, Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind. Next up is a book by an author that I've got a lot of recommendations for. This one is Man of Mundania by Piers Anthony, and it takes place in his Xanth universe. And I understand there are 43 installments in this series. Back to David Eddings. I got another series that takes place in his Belgaria universe. The same one as the first books that I showed you, that 5-book series. This is a 6-book series. It starts with book one, Guardians of the West. And look at the price tags on these things. I was really happy about this find at the bookstore. I got book two, King of the Murgos. Book three, The Demon Lord of Karanda. And I also got book five, The Seers of Kell. So I'm missing 2 books in this series. I'm super excited about this one. I got the first book in the Thomas Covenant series by Stephen R. Donaldson. I've heard a lot about this, Lord Fowl's Bane. Back to David Eddings, my friends. I picked up an entire fantasy trilogy by him, and these are the Tamuli books. Book number 1, Domes of Fire. Book number 2, The Shining Ones. And book number 3, The Hidden City. On to a different David. I got 2 first installments in fantasy series by David Gemmell. The first one is Sword in the Storm, book 1 of the Regante series. And the second one is Legend, which is book 1 of the Draenei saga. This one is a book that I owned when I was a teenager, and I never got around to reading it. Always thought about reading it when I would see it sitting on my bookshelf, so I'm glad I ran back into this one. It's book 1 in the Rune Lords series, which is a 9-book epic. It's called The Sum of All Men by David Farland. This one I picked up just because the price was 50 cents. It's called Swordbearer by Glenn Cook. And finally, friends, the last book that I picked up on my epic fantasy bookstore run is actually a science fiction novel by Jack Vance. It's called Showboat World, and I picked this one up not only because it was $1, but I've heard a lot about Jack Vance, and he's the Hugo and Nebula award-winning master of science fiction, according to the cover on this book, so I figured I'd get one sci-fi novel while I was at it. Well, there you go, my friends. Those are the result of my epic fantasy bookstore trip. I'm looking forward to some more of those trips in the near future. You know what sparked all of this, my friends, is that I'm really into this epic fantasy book that I'm reading by Brandon Sanderson. It's called The Way of Kings, and I'm just in fantasy mode basically at this point. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've read any of these, if you have a book recommendation for me, you can join me on social media. Links are in the description. Thank you all for stopping by, my friends. I'll see you next time.